The heart supplies blood to the body. Blood carries important materials which are required for the body to function and to keep healthy. These include nutrients and oxygen. Blood also helps to get rid of waste and carbon dioxide from the body, as well as fighting infections. Blood is transported around the body via blood vessels. The components of blood are red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and blood plasma. The proportions are 45% red blood cells, around 1% white blood cells and platelets, and 55% plasma. Let's begin with red blood cells. Red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes. They make up 45% of the blood. Millions of red blood cells are continuously produced in the bone marrow. They're produced to replace old and dead cells. They live for about 120 days in the bloodstream. In one drop of blood, there are approximately 5 million red blood cells. Red blood cells are small biconcave discs with no nucleus, and they have the protein hemoglobin. This equips it for its main function of carrying oxygen to cells around the body. The biconcave shape ensures a large surface area to absorb oxygen, which is then supplied to cells. The absence of a nucleus also ensures that there is more space for the absorption of oxygen. They also contain a protein called hemoglobin. This is a transport protein. It helps to carry oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. This is ultimately what makes blood red. Carbon dioxide is then returned from the body to the lungs to be exhaled. Blood plasma contains mainly water and other useful and waste products. It contains proteins and hormones which help with the body's functions. Plasma also helps to regulate bleeding and clotting. Red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and nutrients are carried in a yellow liquid called the blood plasma. Blood plasma makes up 55% of the blood. It contains mainly water and other useful and waste products. It contains nutrients including fats, fatty acids, sugars, amino acids, and vitamins. The nutrients come from the food we eat. Blood plasma contains hormones which also help to regulate body functions. Blood plasma transports these hormones from the glands to the target organs. It also contains proteins which help with blood clotting, defense, and with regulating water levels. For example, fibrinogen is involved in the blood clotting process. There are different types of globulin proteins. Some help with transporting compounds around the body, and other globulins are antibodies that help with the immune function. Albumins are proteins that help to transport various substances and also help to maintain blood pressure and volume. Blood plasma carries out many important functions, some of which are removing waste products, transporting carbon dioxide from respiring cells to the lungs, transporting urea from the liver to the kidneys to be excreted, distributing heat all around the body, etc. Therefore, blood plasma is a very important part of our body. White blood cells are also known as leukocytes. They make up about 1% of the blood. White blood cells fight infections to keep us healthy. So when you get sick, it's the production of white blood cells that help to fight the cause of your sickness. There are two types of white blood cells: phagocytes and lymphocytes. Phagocytes have a nucleus, and they're made in the bone marrow. Neutrophils, macrophages, monocytes, dendritic cells, and mast cells are types of phagocytes. Phagocytes can detect pathogens through the chemicals they release. So once the phagocytes detect foreign particles, they will travel towards the infected area and destroy the pathogens using enzymes. This information regarding the foreign particles is then passed on to the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes have a large nucleus. They're formed in lymph nodes. There are two types of lymphocytes: T cells and B cells. T cells search for pathogens. They identify these by recognizing the foreign antigens. The B cells produce antibodies. These antibodies stick to the antigens of the pathogen and kill them. They kill them by either making them burst, or they can make it easier for the phagocytes to then ingest and destroy. Some other lymphocytes can produce antitoxins which make the phagocytes harmless. After your body has fought an infection, your body produces copies called memory cells. Therefore, if the infection occurs again, then your body's defense system will act quicker and will avoid you getting sick. So you become immune to that specific infection. Platelets are also known as thrombocytes. These are cell fragments that make up around 1% of the blood. They're produced in the bone marrow. They help to stop bleeding and help to heal wounds by forming blood clots. When you injure part of your body, the blood vessels just below the skin become damaged and can cause bleeding. The blood can leak out if the skin is broken, or it can cause a bruise to form where the blood enters the tissue. At the site of an injury, collagen is exposed. This results in the platelets attaching to the area and forming a plug to avoid blood loss. To make this plug stronger, a protein called fibrin attaches itself to the platelets and red blood cells. This mesh then becomes sticky due to the exposure of outside chemicals. Over time, the skin begins to repair. The clot forms a scab, helping to protect the skin as it heals and repairs. Therefore, platelets play an important role in our body.